Your job is not your life. Your career is not your life. Even creating is not your life. Your life is your life.
Hey, Creating Maven. I'm Joy Spencer, your reframe specialist, with one important message. Your real work, it's not your job or your career. Your real work is what you create. And what you create is what sets you apart and makes you incomparable. It's your legacy. I'm here to show you a whole new way of working so you can create with your gifts, make a unique contribution, and finally get paid to be yourself. This is Reframe to Create.
I was in a meeting when her call came through, and so I sent it to voicemail, and then I sent her a text. And I just said, in a meeting, we'll holla. And she replied, okay, please do. When we finally got on the phone, the news that she shared was just devastating. She's dead. What? How? When? Where? She's our age. She's so young, so full of life, so gifted, so she was just here. My mind in that moment flies to the book, Living Life Backwards, How Ecclesiastes Teaches Us to Live in Light of the End by David Gibson. And I'm hit again with the truth of just how fragile and temporary life is. Life is short. And because it's short, we can't afford to misplace our priority. We just can't. We don't know how much time we have. And because of that, as we ease into this new year, I want to turn your attention to thinking about your priority for this year. Note, I didn't say priorities. I said priority. And that's on purpose. In Essentialism, The Disciplined Pursuit of Less by Greg McKeown, he drills this idea into us that there is no such thing as priorities, only your priority. He says, and I quote, "The word priority came into the English language in the 1400s. It was singular. It meant the very first or prior thing. It stayed singular for the next 500 years. Only in the 1900s did we pluralize the term and start talking about priorities. Illogically, we reasoned that by changing the word, we could bend reality. Somehow, we would now be able to have multiple first things." Then he continues with, "But when we try to do it all and have it all, we find ourselves making trade-offs at the margins that we would never take on as our intentional strategy. When we don't purposefully and deliberately choose where to focus our energies and time, other people, our bosses, our colleagues, our clients, and even our families will choose for us. And before long, we'll have lost sight of everything that is meaningful and important. We can either make our choices deliberately or allow other people's agenda to control our lives." Powerful, right? So that reframe on priority back to its original meaning, with that in mind, I want to ask you, what is your priority this year? What is your one thing? What's your focus? The thing that will stand at the center, the thing that will be the sun around which all the other planets orbit, the thing that will serve as the anchor and organizing feature of it all. What is that for you this year? The beauty of this way of thinking is that it helps you to develop the practice of having a singular focus, a singular priority that helps make all your other decisions easy. Anything that gets in the way of it, anything that makes your priority difficult to keep front and center, must necessarily take a backseat. It must play second fiddle, and anything that helps it, supports it, makes it easier, that will get more airtime, more playtime. So what is your priority? At the start of this episode, I said that creating isn't your life. And why? Why would I say that? Because Reframe to Create is all about getting you to create, right? And the big priority here is to help you get paid to be you through what you create. But even in all of that, I want you to know, I want you to be aware that even that isn't everything. Even this message that I'm sharing here at Reframe to Create has its proper place. And that place isn't at the center of your life. Life is short. Every day, someone you know or someone who you know knows. Someone is passing on, passing away. And every time we have to ask ourselves, what really matters? What matters to me? And in what order? Because time's a ticking. So how can you keep things in order? I want to share what I use as we kick off this year. I want to share what I use and how I think about this idea of priority and even what follows and supports my priority. And maybe it'll help you to organize what's most important for you this year. I think about my priority and the order of what follows through after that through something that I created and call the priority investment circle. It's like helping me figure out where am I going to invest my time, my effort, and energy, and in what order. I first talked about it and shared it with you in episode 10, Your Work is Not the Center. And here's how you can visualize it. It's a 3-ring bullseye circle. And in the very, very, very center is health. Then the ring around that is relationships. And then the ring around that is creating. And that's it. 3 circles, at least for me. Health, relationships, creating. And this is how I think about it. First, health. To me, health isn't just wealth. Health is the only wealth. Without health, nothing else is running. Without health, all your energy, your focus, and resources are going to go toward getting that health back. And I'm not just talking about physical health, but all types of health. Of course, we want to be physically healthy, that fitness, that nutrition, like our bodies being well. But I'm also talking about spiritual health, emotional, mental, and financial health, right? Health is my priority. This means that I'm always focused on making sure that the health conditions, whether it's my physical, spiritual, mental, emotional, financial health conditions, the things, the systems, right, that support everything, I want to make sure those things are right around me. And when they're not, I stop everything else and I refocus on that. And if you take on this mindset of making health in all of its forms your priority, it means you'll be focused on taking care of what you have, including you, including your body, things like nutrition, fitness, sleep. Making your health a priority means you stop doing certain things that are common, just that everybody does. Things like running yourself to the ground, things like living life without any time or any space buffers for rest and recovery. This type of living has to go when you're making health a priority because it's antithetical to things being healthy. Because when health is a priority, you're not trying to break things that you have to fix later. Instead, you are doing everything you can to maintain what you have and even support it and moving towards being more optimal health. Your physical health, your mental health, your spiritual health, your emotional health, your financial health. These are the only wealth that you have. All the other things you're chasing that promise short-term rewards in exchange for you breaking yourself, all those things, not worth it. Once the health is gone, everything stops and nothing else matters. Not your status, not your money, not who likes you, not who doesn't, nothing. So keep the main thing the main thing. Keep first things first. Make your health your priority and everything else will be supported and will flow from that. Second, relationships. Now, relationships can be thought of as a type of health, I guess, but for purposes of this and how I think about it, I separate it out. At the end of the day, our relationships are the most precious things we have. The people we love and those who love us, our family, our friends, our community, our acquaintances, even strangers who pop into our lives briefly to just say the thing that we need to hear at just the right moment. Even them. Relationships are the good stuff of life. And we too often take them for granted and let other things swallow them up, because as precious as our relationships are, they're not forever. That's actually why they're so precious. Even the best relationships are going to end in someone passing on. And this shouldn't make us sad to the point that we miss the lesson of caring for and appreciating and loving up on our relationships. This is not something to do haphazardly, but to do intentionally. We need to step into our relationships by making space and time for them. They will make us healthy socially and be what we hold on to long after jobs are done and long after we have the energy to create anything. Love up on people for the time that you have them. And third on my priority investment list, of course, you know it, creating. Because, say it with me now, your work is not your job or career. Your work is what you create. And creating is to your soul what breathing is to your body. Here's the thing about creating with your gifts, as I talk about it here on the podcast. This is not just some vanity project. This is not about proving your worth or value to another person. This is simple, plain old human living. Throughout our history as humanity, one of the most beautiful things that people leave behind are the things and experiences that they create for other people. We talk about it for generations, whether it's buildings, paintings, even ways of thinking, style of food and clothing, whatever it is. Whether it is tangible or intangible, the legacies that stand the test of time are things that people create. And that's not always why we do it, right? We don't just create to leave a legacy. We create because there is a joy and life-affirming way about creating. As I said, creating is to the soul what breathing is to the body, and it is just the thing that we need to live. And that's why, to me, it's more fundamental to who you are than your job. Because what you create with your gifts is your work, and this type of work is yours. It belongs to you, not to the job you may temporarily have, not the career you may temporarily have. It's yours. It's such an intricate part of who you are, and it's your responsibility. Your responsibility to discover your gifts, create with them, and offer that thing that you create in service. And that responsibility stands and endures whether or not you have a job. Since creating this podcast, I have taken this part of my life even more seriously. I've prioritized it, and on any given day, since this podcast is what I create, I make sure it's the work I invest in before I even give a minute of thought to work that I'm doing for any employer or coaching client. Creating is my work, so it's third on my priority list, which is before any job or client work. Now, you may wonder, what's next, right? What's next? After health, relationships, and creating, what's next? I'm like, well, it's all the rest. And as I said, my job definitely comes in after creating. I don't make it a habit to give my best emotional, mental, or creative energy to a job. Nope. I prioritize and give the best of me to creating, because I've learned that what you create for yourself and your own brand is the only thing you can take with you as you liberate your work from your employer and move on to whatever is next for you. It's the door opener to other opportunities, so you better be investing in it first. So creating is high on my list. So those are the three: health, relationships, and creating. And so I leave you with this and want you to think about it and ask yourself, how about you? What's your priority this year? And what are the things that will support that priority? Think about my priority investment circle. See if it'll help you organize how you want to think about your year. Because now more than ever, it's important to keep the main thing the main thing. I'm really excited for this year and what I have lined up for you here at Reframe to Create. We are going to dig deeper into all of our themes. It'll be reframe after reframe to help you shift your mindset toward being more mission-minded about your work, which is what you create, and less job-focused. It'll be reframes to help you discover your gifts and what makes you stand out. It'll be bringing guests who can help you with the 3 pillars of getting paid to be you, which are to create, own, storytell. Create with your gifts, own what you create, and tell powerful stories about who you are and what you create. It is gonna be great fun, and I know transformational for you. And speaking of transformations, if you've been around here for any amount of time, you've heard me say over and over again, you can only go as far as who you are. And by now, you should know that I mean the work of who you are and how you see yourself as the first and most important step in getting paid to be you. If you want to be paid to be you, you've got to be the type of person who gets paid to be you. And that reframe is what I call your need to get restoried. This is so that you can tell a different story about who you are and what you create. I have enjoyed working with clients to help them do this work so that they can be ready to pivot into the new things that they want to do. And if you know that you are ready for this transition, this pivoting, if you're ready for that this year, because you want to know what you uniquely create and what makes you stand out, and you want to be able to tell powerful stories about that, I want to hear from you. I also want to hear from you if you're ready to do even more storytelling work, like developing your story bank or building the frameworks to your talk or a presentation pitch so that you're equipped with powerful stories for your next interview or presentation. Stories have the power to transform everything. Your stories have the power to transform your whole life. And I can't wait to work with you on this part of your journey this year. So schedule an exploration session with me at reframetocreate.com/contact, and let's find the storytelling package that's right for you. And in all your plans to create, own, storytell this year, don't forget today's message. Remember to keep your health and relationships front and center, because without them, what you create will have little meaning. And with that said, see you soon, Creating Maven. Until then, remember to always ask yourself, what will I create?